Dale Jr. did just great. We got the whole crew now. So we've got John and Joanne from the Get Out and Drive podcast, and of course Junior, myself, and Jason. And we are off to AMD. Well, as mentioned, we are here at Auto Metal Direct, the giant logo right in there. So we're going to go inside, we're going to check it out. Okay, so here we are behind the scenes at Auto Metal Direct, inside like the worldwide headquarters, the warehouse. Look at all of the parts goodness behind us. So we're gonna go on a quick little tour and see what all they got. They're loading up, of course, the merchandise truck for C10s in the city tomorrow. Of course, they're one of the big sponsors. So it's really kind of cool to see behind the scenes, not just from the car show itself, but all of the components that make it a success. And so really cool to see one of the biggest vendors here in the Southeast and see how a day like this goes here on the eve of the car show.
Here, Bowers Automotive, Jennings, Louisiana. We'll come in there, and then everything here will be out there. Wow. Yeah. Bag crates. We build all those secure for shipping. Different freight lines that we work with to go to different parts of the country, and we've been doing it long enough to where we know, okay, this freight line, you don't want to use them in this part of the country, or you have damages, stuff like that. So we kind of fine tune it to get the best price and quality from the delivery country. If they tear it up, they will. Right. But you can see we take a lot of precautions. Red is Georgia for Summit. Yellow is Texas, green's Ohio, orange is Nevada.
Getting you behind the scenes of how do you do it. Look at this, look at the custom boxing for fenders. Pretty cool to see something like this show up on bedsides, probably step side bed fenders. Doorstep, really cool.
Yeah, headlight retaining ring. Yeah, that kind of
little
stuff.
bitty things.
Medium parts and then glass.
I see.
And then if you look on the perimeter of the walls there, it's like floor pans, trunk floors, hoods.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Spot in this warehouse somewhere where all the teardown vehicles used to be.
oh yeah.
I don't see anything in here.
Oh yeah. It's still hidden.
It's still here?
It's hidden. It's still here though.
Well, let's go on.
Let's go check this out. That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Well, as Jason mentioned, there's a part of the shop where they tear down basically R&D, right? So if there's a new product line they want to introduce, they're going to find a good solid car and they're going to take it apart to figure out how can they create dies and stamps and all the such for the new sheet metal. So that's where we're at. Let's go on in. Right, straight 6-man found his truck. Alright, so I'm sitting here walking through all this cool classic iron of various stages, various different forms, and it kind of just reminds me, it's like the indoor arena version of being at Nobody's Auto out in Great Bend, Kansas, Chad's Yard. Smaller scale, of course, but it's that same sensation. You just get this feeling when you're around all this old iron, just thinking about what stories could these cars tell, right? It's the same thing I get every time I walk through Chad's Yard. So it was really cool just seeing, the other thing is like, not only is it just the stories could these cars tell, but what stories will these cars contribute to telling with what Auto Metal Direct plans on doing with all this back here in this part of the building. So really cool to just think about not just the past, but what is the future for all of this.
Inside, we take original parts, break it all down to where it was. We send it off to production where they'll get us a prototype, and then we'll take another truck with factory bedsides and put those back on it.
Wow.
And make sure that the factory parts fit the reproduction.
I see.
And then we take all the reproduction, make sure they're happy.
I see. Because not every time, not all the time is the average Joe doing aftermarket. Sometimes they're putting new aftermarket quarters on original floor.
Yeah. Yeah,
And you've got to be able to blend them.
Yeah. Especially trucks. A lot of the patina guys.
Right.
They want to keep the outer skins.
They want to keep the outer skins, and you put a floor in it that looks like it's been hauling gravel or whatever.
Yeah.
You want it a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so we carry this floor, but we don't make it. But
Okay.
we've had enough demand.
It's somebody else's stamp,
Yeah.
and you carry it because you have the demand for it.
That's where, if you look on our website, if it's an X part, so it's X whatever.
In your part number X part?
Yes.
That's an outsourced part
That's
from
an
you,
outsourced.
but you sell it.
Right.
I see.
And we look for the best that we can find when we do those
I
parts.
see.
It's
And
not
that's your
quite-
white label service, or you hunted down that part because you have the market?
We hunt it down.
I see. Does licensing work?
Oof, that's a big deal.
Oh, that's a huge hoop.
And it depends on which of the big three you're dealing with, how that works.
Right.
Like Mopar is great.
Okay.
They have no issues.
Okay.
We've proven ourselves to them.
I see.
We pay a licensing fee.
Sure.
They check the parts. Everything's great.
Wow.
Ford has been tough to work with.
Because I thought they had a cert process.
But most of the stuff that we have to license is with Ford script or GM script.
Okay,
If it's
I see.
An emblem, something they own the trademark right.
I see.
Like the
A
stamp
door.
tailgate.
Right. Right. Those have to be licensed
I
because we're
see.
using their intellectual property.
Right. Because it's a physical logo issue,
Right.
not necessarily they're concerned about that fender.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so Jason and I just had a really good conversation, and his comment was how cool would it be to work at a place like this, and just like I was just mentioning, how this reminds me of being in Chad's yard. It dawned on me like a week ago, his job, he's dismantling cars with a purpose. Same thing here, dismantling cars with a purpose, so that others out there can put their cars back together. And so while maybe like in Chad's instance, he doesn't really have to worry about how things on the donor car go back together. These guys do. They have to. It was just explained. Jason, AMD Jason was explaining to us how, well, if we're going to repop, say, a bed floor, we got to make sure it fits with a factory quarter skin, and vice versa. Maybe somebody's ordering a new factory quarter skin bedside, and that's got to, made up to a factory bed floor. So the precision that these guys, after they take something apart, have to really study and make sure it works for the repop. It just, kind of makes your mind think, and this is really cool to get an inside look at what their job's like.
Most of these are smooth.
It doesn't have
I see it doesn't have any. It
it doesn't have the humps in it.
Yeah. So learning those, you can use the outer roof skin from a truck to fix one of these. It just doesn't have that back lip.
But these would have a headliner in it anyway.
Panel where it's got a scratch or a ding, and that's acceptable shipping policy. We photograph it just like it comes to a customer. And if it's severe, we just pull that out and then see if we got an issue.
And that's good because you're getting what the customer is getting.
Well, huge thanks to Jason and the crew. I say AMD Jason. Jason Carr for getting us hooked up with AMD through the Get Out and Drive podcast, for showing us around a great time here. To get an inside look at how just everything that goes into the operation. Really impressive, really cool. I guess you call it an adult car guy field trip, but this has been a ton of fun.